be Ecolor, synthesis of EInk Microcapsules for Fabricating DIY Displays by Wenda, Zhao.
Okay.
It's coming out. Wait, it's not fitting. Sorry. Yeah, it's better. It's good. All right, take it away.
Wait, it's not showing the printer.
Presentation.
No, it's not showing the presenter. Yeah. Automatic. Right, thank you very much. Before I start, let me ask you a question. Please raise your hand if you know what an ebook reader is. Okay, good. Now please raise your hand if you know what an ebook reader display actually works, like the e-ink. Oh, that's much better than I thought. Okay, right, so let's have a look together, shall we? So if we look together, we look closer at the ebook reader screen, we start to see these tiny particles. It's called microcapsules, which are the material that makes the black and white letters appear on the e-ink display. And if we zoom in closer, we can see that each microcapsule is a tiny sphere that contains even smaller black and white particles. These particles are either positively or negatively charged. The magic of e-ink display happens when we apply an electric field between the top and bottom electrodes, making these particles attracted to the top and bottom layer and allowing you to see the color change through the top and electrode, the view angle. And you may already know that e-ink is very versatile. It is low power, it has a high contrast, has a high refresh rate compared with other low energy cost display technologies like electrochromics. It does not require backlight, and it's bistable. So bistable indicates when the power is removed, the image is still there. And with all these qualities, we are surprised that e-ink hasn't been widely explored in the HCI community. In fact, some research has already explored how active materials such as electrochromic or photochromic inks can push beyond the boundary of traditional flat rectangular display, enabling more free-form design, flexible design. We believe that e-ink could also join this family of active inks. But there are problems. So e-ink usually comes as prefabricated modules. Access to raw electronic ink material, like the e-ink powder, you can see that, is usually protected by patents. And even if you do have the access to it, on-the-shelf products are lacking ability for customization. And making the ink yourself is difficult. It requires chemical expertise, specialized equipment, and there are chemical hazards, of course, because you're dealing with chemicals, which could be a serious concern for those who are not chemists. For example, some fabrication process requires using methanol and nitrogen-protected environment, which has the risk of toxicity and burn. So in this work, we asked, how can we make e-ink fabrication accessible to HCI researchers? So we simplified both the chemicals and the equipment, and we provide recipes that can be replicated. So our e-ink is simplified. This is the original one, and here's the simplified. So it's like only using the white particles floating suspended in a liquid that is not transparent anymore, which has a violet dye inside of it, and providing the contrast darker color. And by moving the white particles, we can hide them in the violet or let them flow to showing the color change. And the results we produced is a programmable ink that can change its color from black to white, of course. And here is a quick demo, just drawing from neutral to white. And when you reverse the electrode, they're going to change color. And that's the reverse. Yeah, the temperature is quite high when we do it, so it's not bit. Yeah. But how did we make it? I want to give you a brief idea of how it's made. So one of the processes we use to make microcapsules is called microencapsulation or encapsulation. A simplified way to understand is to think about how mayonnaise is made. In mayonnaise, you mix oil and egg, you stir it really fast at a certain temperature, which creates tiny oil droplets that contain some egg yolk in a shell. With E-ink, we have similar process. Of course, it's complex than making mayonnaise, but the similar part is most of the process right here is about stirring things with different conditions, such as pH, temperature, stirring rate, and all of this is to enable the encapsulation of the white particle and dark liquid in the shell. We also have to make sure the white particles can move in the shell as we desire. So we surface modify them, the white particles, to allow them move freely when the external electrode has voltage applied to it. So they can respond to the electric field instead of sitting at the bottom, because titanium dioxide, that's a white particle, usually heavier than the suspension. And here is the recipe. On the left-hand side is the surface modification, and on the right-hand side is encapsulation. I won't go too much technical details with this. It's in the paper. But the hope is this recipe can enable the researchers in HCI can replicate our E-ink fabrication. Now, for the last bit of talk, I want to quickly explain how we evaluate our ink. We did several performance evaluations as well as an end-user study to figure out if people could replicate the fabrication process. Our capsules, they are less uniformly compared with commercial ones, of course, but with more experience, you repeat, you could get better results. But they are still small enough. Usually the diameter is less than 200 microns. The average would be 50 microns, as you can see in the image. So they're small enough you can't see with your bare eye. Basically, what you do is you put on the electrode, you apply the voltage onto it. You can see the color change in general, and the response time is usually within half a second or something like that, which is close to the industry performance. And the participants, they found the E-ink fabrication process are easy to understand and execute. Some of them expressed anxiety with dealing with chemicals in the beginning, but most, like 83% of the participants, reached this process to be easy or relatively easy. So overall, we believe this is accessible to novices with proper guidance and equipment. And our paper also includes the full chemistry details and shows some early prototypes. They are relatively simple right now. Like you can hear, it's basically freehand writing using the electrode and some stencils, and there's like 3x3 pixels to prove it's possible to use as like a traditional design. We hope the recipe lowers the barrier to entry using E-ink in HCI research. So if you have ideas for application, maybe inspired by some of those right here, please come talk to me afterwards, and I'd like to hear them. And last bit, I'm finishing my PhD in autumn 2026. I'm looking for a postdoc. If you have possible, please come pick me up. Thank you.
Any questions from the audience?
Thank you for your presentation. So my first question is, isn't it also more difficult for people to get the ingredients to produce the ink than getting, for example, a circuit with the ink?
Depending on like the specific type of chemicals. So what we're talking right here is nano-sized material, like the white particles. They are nano-sized, usually 30 to 100 nanometers diameter, which is also difficult to purchase, but they are available on suppliers like Sigma. But for the E-ink, you can't buy it directly on the shelf. They are not selling at Google. When Google it, it's not there. So I would say it's easier to get these raw material to fabricate them.
Yeah, very interesting work. I have a couple of questions. The violet dye that you showed there showed what the dark color. So can you change that dye and therefore get different colors?
Yes.
The non-white?
Yes, of course. If
Okay.
if the nanoparticles, they don't work really well because they require surface modification, or you got lighter particles, they have to be match the density of the suspension. But if solutable, like violet dye, Nile red, they are widely used in chemical and medical reasons. These are workable, and you can get ideal results.
So the ink that you manufactured, can it survive being inkjet printed?
Yes, we use cross-linker to make it strong, like the shells to be very strong. But there's a release rate of the contents inside of it. So within the shelf life, usually what we did is 3 months or so before it get releasing sufficient organic materials, it survives.
Yeah, so I think the bigger impact here is not enabling people to make their own e-ink, but selling it to people to use the actual ink.
Thanks. Thank you for the great talk and for making this process so simpler. And I guess one question I have is, now that you've done the manufacturing part, are you also going to make the electronics part simpler? Because I don't think I've seen the controlling of the e-ink in this talk.
So controlling the e-ink, are you talking about you want to build a e-book reader or something like?
Yeah, basically right now you have the e-ink surface already, and I see that you're using the electronic probe to control the e-ink. But is there a more programmable way to do it?
Maybe what we're using right here is we use ITU film because it's transparent, allows you to see through. But if you want to use some other types of electrodes like copper wiring, that's possible. But building a flexible design of electronics is kind of beyond the scope of this project. So yeah.
All right, let's thank Wenda again. Just a reminder, he's on the postdoc market, so please hire him.